this video, we are creating Gary Oak's ultimate team in Pokemon. I'm going to be looking at all of Gary's Pokemon and picking out which ones that have the best potential for Gary's ultimate team. I will create a full squad of 6 Pokemon, each having good enough strength and capability to work together as a group. I'm also going to be including Gary's manga counterpart because of his anime team being short and not much detail to go off of. Now, if you're wondering why I want to create the ultimate team for Gary, it all came down to the old rivalry with Ash in the first few series. This rivalry was awesome because both knew and hated each other so well and reached for the same goal. However, Gary and Ash had completely different ways of reaching that goal. Unlike Ash, who catches Pokemon he makes friends with, Gary goes for the hard-hitting powerhouses we love to see. This makes Gary's team and Pokemon really strong, and since we didn't see his full team yet in Pokemon Journeys, this is a perfect time to create Gary Oak's ultimate team. Are you ready? Alright, let's get into it. Just a quick reminder before we start, this is all based on the anime logic, so don't go complaining about types or moves or any of that stuff in the comments. Thanks. Let's start with Gary's Pokemon he owns in the anime. Gary owns a total of 21 Pokemon in the anime, although not all of those Pokemon were actually used, they were only shown to have been caught by Gary. The obvious and first option is Gary's Blastoise, and considering it's Gary's first Pokemon he caught, and one of the most often used mons by Gary, we can safely say it's pretty well off. Another well-known Pokemon Gary has is Electivire, who was caught in Sinnoh, yet little is known about this Pokemon. Of course, we also can't forget about Umbreon, who was a great battler during Gary's prime days as a battler. I mean, Gary still battles, but he spends more of his time as a researcher like Professor Oak. That's another reason why I want to create his ultimate team, because I really want Gary to battle more often. I think it's possible to see him battle Ash near the end of Journeys. That would be awesome. Anyways, his next Pokemon are the ones we don't get to see battle very frequently, which are Big Boy Krabby, Growlithe, Dodrio, Neato Queen, and Neato King, Magmar, Scizor, and Golem. All of these mons are pretty decent, I'd have to say, but again, we didn't see much of them being used in combat. Lastly, we have Gary's unseen Pokemon, which are Pinsir, Houndoom, Fearow, Alakazam, Skarmy, and Kingdra. I'm too used to saying Skarmy like in Clash Royale. I don't know why I said that. It's Skarmory. Anyhow, these I can't judge. However, I'll take them under consideration because they are fully evolved Pokemon, and just like in the games, the anime favors fully evolved Pokemon. Sorta. So now that I've looked over at Gary's Pokemon in the anime, we'll switch over to Gary's manga Pokemon. Gary starts off with a full team of 6 Pokemon he used against Ash in the Silver Conference. This team was made up of Arcanine, Rhydon, Gyarados, Venusaur, Pidgeot, and Slowbro. Again, Gary really likes his fully evolved Pokemon, something Ash should have done more often, but it's Ash, so like, what can you do? Nonetheless, Gary's manga team slaps. I don't know about you, but I'm seeing a common theme here with Gary's anime Pokemon and manga Pokemon. They're pretty much all Kanto Pokemon, and most of them are the exact same Pokemon. I know, I like saying Pokemon a lot. Anyways, now that we know what Pokemon Gary has in both the anime and manga, we can now create Gary's teams. The first team will be the team Gary will most likely use, if that be on hand, in Pokemon Journeys or in general. The second team will be Gary's strongest team, which according to what I know is his top performing Pokemon. For his first team, I have to go with Blastoise, who is a must when it comes to Gary, like it's the mascot of Gary's team. Blastoise might be his best Pokemon because it's a beast in battle, and although it lost to Ash's Charizard, it still carried Gary's team. Even the main man, Professor Oak, said Blastoise was Gary's best Pokemon, and you can't argue with Professor Facts. Moving on to his next Pokemon, I picked Umbreon. This is a great choice because, like Gary, Umbreon is a badass. Who doesn't remember that awesome battle it had against Alakazam? Like, come on, we need to see more of those battles from Umbreon. Even though it's only had about 4 battles, Umbreon is still a very memorable Pokemon that Gary has. My only complaint is, where's Umbreon at now? We haven't seen it since like the Stone Age. Next, we got our boy Electivire, who is great. Why? Because it's great. Electivire is an amazing Pokemon in general, and when we saw Gary having one before Sinnoh was even a thing, was even cooler. Pokemon should do that more often with like Gen 9 Pokemon. I'd love to see a rival come up in the end of Journeys and have this new Pokemon no one's ever seen before. Back to Electivire. We saw it destroy Ash's Pikachu, then help destroy Hunter J, then help destroy a Moltres. Now that I'm thinking about it, Electivire might be one of Gary's best Pokemon. 4th spot goes to Neato King since it's bulky, powerful, and all around a suitable choice for Gary's team. Although I do think Neato King is a suitable choice for Gary's team, it would not go on his ultimate team because it made Gary lose the Indigo Plateau Conference. We all know that can't slide, but for Gary's team, this Pokemon just looks right, and that's a good enough reason I've ever heard. Next, we have the OG doggo Arcanine, who is not the best Garymon because it's slow as hell. It lost to a flippin' Bayleaf in a race. Like, how? However, it does look awesome, I gotta say, and Arcanine functions perfectly on this team because it's a cool fire type that is pretty beefy. A bit too beefy for my liking, again, for being super slow, but not a bad Garymon at all. Our 6th and final pick for team number 1 is Alakazam, and I picked this Pokemon mainly for the 5,000 plus IQ. Fun fact, Gary has never actually used Alakazam in the show. It was only shown off screen briefly during the Silver Conference where we got to see a website of Gary's Pokemon he had caught. I thought Alakazam would be a great touch since Gary is known for knowing a lot about Pokemon, and just like Alakazam, they both have big brains. Now, what is Gary's strongest Pokemon team? The best Pokemon that he owns who could possibly outperform Ash's Pokemon. This is a tough decision because, as we know, Gary's got quite the collection of Pokemon with not much experience. However, there are some that do stick out, and that leads us to the very first Pokemon joining Gary's ultimate team. Blast the freaking toys has to be here. I've already said it many times, but I can't make a team with Gary that doesn't include Blastoise. Like, has anyone ever seen him battle Moltres in Journeys? He was literally flying off the walls. It was crazy. Blastoise is the GOAT turtle in my opinion because of Gary's Blastoise for being amazing and always impressing every time we see it on screen. Still, my only complaint with pretty much all of Gary's Mons is that we don't see them being used enough. We need an episode where Gary and Ash just battle the entire episode, like they're just battling. That would be the best episode yet. Our second contestant is Neato Queen, who is one of Gary's Mons that honestly is underrated. I don't know if it's actually underrated, but I'll tell you what, it's got a pretty good record, and compared to most of Gary's other Pokemon, having any record is good. Quick history, Neato Queen was first seen in a tense situation where Gary used her to defeat Team Rocket because they were busy being Team Rocket. Neato Queen was seen again in the Silver Conference where she easily defeated Ash's Tauros, but exploded after taking Snorlax's Ice Punch. Now I gotta say, although Neato Queen was destroyed by Ash's Snorlax, at least it was Ash's Snorlax, because we all know that thing was hacked in the anime, so losing to him isn't such a bad thing. Still, Neato Queen seemed like a good asset on Gary's team, and you know that I'm glad to have her on Gary's ultimate team. Another cool asset for Gary's ultimate team is Electivire, who has taken the 3rd spot because it's a force to be reckoned with. We already know what happened to Ash's Pikachu and Moltres. I know I've said this a lot, but Electivire might and probably is the best Pokemon battling wise on Gary's team. Not to mention in Sinnoh when Gary and Electivire helped take down Hunter J and Team Galactic. Electivire might have taken a couple L's while they were battling Team Galactic, but it's still a beast and has the right to be on Gary's best squad. Squad. One Pokemon that you might not have been expecting to join the team is Scizor, who is a super speedy boy. Scizor not only creatively took down Muck by throwing it in the air and then using Swift, but it also took down Snorlax. And if you somehow take down Snorlax, then you automatically deserve this spot because the best of the best can't even tickle Snorlax, nonetheless KO him. Of course, like all legends, their time comes, and Scizor tragically gets burned to a crisp by Charizard in one hit. But hey, for the 2 battles Scizor had, it did really well, and with that, Scizor makes it into the final 6. What the final 6 is missing is Umbreon, who has to be on the final 6 since it's one of Gary's best agility fighters and a very strong dark type, used often by Gary. Not only was it strong as an Umbreon, but it was also strong as an Eevee too. Eevee made quick work of Pikachu even though Pikachu has been around long before Gary had ever caught Eevee, which just shows off the natural strength of his Eevee. Umbreon has also been on screen for a lot of time fighting Team Rocket and Hunter J. If Gary returns again, we better see a rematch of Umbreon versus Pikachu because Ash kinda got done dirty. A Pokemon that has been done dirty a lot was Gary's Arcanine, which is taking the next spot since it's one of the last Gary Mons to have some screen time and a couple of battles. Although I mentioned earlier that Arcanine is very slow and it lost to a Snorlax in the Silver Conference, its attacks are pretty darn good. Even taking out a Kingler with only 3 hits in spite of Kingler being a water type and Arcanine a fire type. Then of course it got dunked on by Mewtwo after that. But I'd say Arcanine, although for a few rig battles it had, was one of the best Pokemon Gary owns. Let's also be real, who doesn't like Arcanine? It's a legendary Pokemon after all. Speaking of legendary Pokemon, you wanna know what else is legendary? Goodra. What is Goodra like? Discord. Who has Discord? Me. Might as well join because you can meet and talk to a whole bunch of people who also like Pokemon. Anyways, here's his ultimate team. I hope you guys have a great day. That's a wrap.